welcome to the Oil Stream. We've got a lot to discuss today, don't we? It is the Oil Stream presented by Boston Pizza, and we are live at Boston Pizza. We're at the Westmount Boston Pizza. People starting to roll in for lunch. There were a few guys who were here for the end of the game. BP's got opened. I don't even know. I think they might have just been buddies who were allowed in before the game. Before the game was on, or while the game was on.
Yeah.
And my goodness, I mean, we got to start there, and then we'll get into the Paul Coffey stuff. There's
God.
There's
Oh boy,
man,
I'm just gonna say this: Oil Country, buckle up.
Yeah, this is.
I mean, you can. But let's talk about.
This is a guy who owns something, putting something in place that he wants, which I guess is his right.
Sure.
Even if it pisses off a lot of other people.
Let's talk about the good stuff.
Let's talk about the Canada game first.
And I've had some people texting me about, oh, this is great. I'm like,
yeah, well, a lot of people seem to really like it. I saw some people say this is the best decision the Oilers have made in years.
Yeah.
To bring
I hope they're right. So. I hope they're right for your sake.
Anyway, let's start with the Canada stuff. We are, if you want to pop by for lunch, Westmount Boston Pizza, Norman Combine just rolled in as well. There's some other Canadian jerseys sprinkled in here as well. Yeah, I mean, there's lots to discuss. Obviously.
Yeah, let's start with the Canada stuff.
Yeah, that was
holy F.
I mean, that was crazy. That was
unbelievable.
Like, I'll be honest. I thought it was going to be an empty netter. Like, with the net empty, McDavid was going to have to do something special.
Yeah.
To tie that hockey game for them. And I think that might be the biggest thing that comes out of this is that they came back and then won it without McDavid having to do it.
Now, he was a huge part of the surge and the wave and the pushback after Crosby went down. And
he flipped a switch.
Yeah, and you know what? He had Celebrini riding with him. And I think a lot of guys stepped up. And we're talking about it on the Hangout as we were watching the game. This team is loaded with superstars, with Stanley Cups, with personal accolades in the National Hockey League. What an opportunity to rise to the occasion on the world's biggest stage. And, you know, Mitch Marner did, and a bunch of guys did. Drew Doughty laying a hit on David Pastrnak. I thought that was a great moment. There were so many little things where there were obviously nerves, but you're like, these guys, you can get behind them and have faith in them. And I think they had the gumption to pull through, and they did. So they're creating their own magic moments, which is fantastic, amazing, heart palpitating. But my goodness,
incredible tip by Suzuki.
Great tip.
And then Mitch Marner. Now, it was funny with Mitch Marner because, so I'm watching it. The one TV behind me I was watching quite a bit, but I was watching on the far one over there.
Yeah.
And I saw them start celebrating, and I was like, oh my God, they scored. And I was in my mind, I'm like, Marner just dangled the entire D. But then I watched it on the close-up, and they sort of let him get through. Like, it was horrible defense.
It was.
And then great finish by Mitchie Marner to get that backhander up top far side. But, I mean, they got to close that gap on Marner a little bit quicker. Yeah. It's not like Marner's got McDavid's speed bursting through.
No, but he's got
brilliant. He's got good hands, smooth. But he didn't even really have to. It's not like he had to put it through anybody. He sort of just found a line, and took it.
It was a little bit of like a forehand, backhand, and then
like if that goal goes in, we're ripping
shot.
the 3 Canadian defenders.
Absolutely.
But the finish was brilliant.
Yeah.
The finish from Marner was absolutely brilliant. So, I mean, that's one of the big takeaways. Marner, obviously another big game for Canada.
Yeah.
Steps up like he did last year in the final game at Four Nations, and also like the final game at Four Nations. Jordan Binnington comes up with some huge saves. Like, how do you give up a breakaway with a minute left in a tied hockey game?
You're pushing too much.
My God.
You know, you have the mental breakdown and the brain fart, if you will. And, yeah, they got caught on it. But Binnington showed up. He made a couple saves. I mean, there's a really smart guy wearing a B-clutch hoodie on the Hangout saying, as long as Binnington makes a save and then you find a way and keep digging, you'll get it. Don't remember his name.
That was you?
That was a guy wearing a B-clutch hoodie today.
You are wearing a B-clutch
hoodie. And then
hoodie.
Owanek correctly said, well, he made 2 big saves. So
yeah. I mean, that's usually a recipe. A goalie makes a big save, and then they keep grinding and going.
Way. Yeah.
Switzerland, Finland. What's the score? I haven't checked the score since we were still 2-0. Nice. Switzerland's still up 2-0 on the Finns. Finns coming in off a game which they buried 11 on Italy, and Switzerland has shut them down.
Yeah.
so far. All right, you can chime in, and of course, if you want to text us 780-218-9999. Did you see the picture that Maddie sent the group of too many men on the ice?
Yeah, that's
how is that
crazy.
not called?
Well, I'll go back to a text I got from someone earlier in the day saying Chris Rudy is horrible.
Like, there's clearly
Okay.
six
Yeah.
Czechia players inside the defensive zone.
Yeah,
And somebody said there were 6 of them in the celebration of the goal.
that's bad.
Like, that is a tough. But how is Canada not losing their mind on the bench?
They didn't see it either.
They must. How do you not see
I
6
think
guys on the
You're
ice?
just mesmerized by what's going on.
Thank God that we came back and won that game.
Yeah.
Because we would bitch about that too many men call forever.
Rightly so.
Forever.
Rightly so.
And yes, that was crazy.
Aren't we still bitching about 98 and no Gretzky?
Yeah, I drafted it in the Olympic
Yeah,
draft
it was 30 years
because it was
ago.
still ridiculous that you didn't put the greatest player
Yeah.
ever into the shootout, man. Like, that's crazy. Okay, what about the Sidney Crosby injury? Like, this has got to be
That's
serious if Sid's not pushing through in a winner-take-all game.
I know. And did you see his dad? His dad jumped up right away. Didn't like what Gudas did. Gudas
Yeah.
kind of jumped on top of him a little bit.
that
trying
had to
play
have been
physical.
what sort of tweaked something because
Well, you see
the hit on the other
picture-
side didn't like.
No, you see the picture of Crosby's knees, and he's basically like looks like his knees are almost locked in. And they're coming together, and
Yeah,
that's a lot of stress on a 38-year-old body. So that's very concerning. You could see him sitting on the bench, and it kind of looked like he was going to be okay, and then he goes off to the locker room, and you're like, oh, this is bad. And, there are some doctors out there. I know Jazzy's doctor cousin Hargis was like, that looks
did
like
he text in a diagnosis during
he,
the hangout?
he does that on. I think he does it on Twitter. So yeah, I mean, he would have a way better idea than any of us.
I
but-
do like the idea of Sid's dad yelling at Gudas
Well,
like a U13 hockey tournament. Like,
he's his dad. I
yeah,
mean, it
exactly.
doesn't
I
matter
love
if
it.
his kid's 20 or if he's 40 or he's 15. He's rooting him on, and then you could see they went to another shot of mom and dad Crosby, and his dad goes, he's hurt, and when the dad knows from that distance, it's bad.
that is bad.
Yeah.
That's a tough pill to swallow. Now they do have an insanely deep roster.
Yeah.
They moved Suzuki to the middle. I think
Right.
you can leave him there behind McKinnon and McDavid if you need to, or if you're gonna leave, would you go McKinnon with McDavid to start the next and just be like, screw it, enough messing around,
Just load up.
leave those 3 guys together and just go be the best line on the ice. Like they were, and they should have never been behind 3-2. Like after the Crosby injury, Canada took that game over.
I don't know what they were doing on the 3-2 goal defensively. It looked like a miscommunication. And then because Doughty's yelling, who's the back checker? Suzuki. And then the third man back was Stone.
Yeah, Stone was the third man back.
And then the way Doughty played it, he kind of left the lane and went towards the front of the net.
Yeah, Mike Johnson said that goal happened. I was here at the time. MJ said he didn't think there was anything else Doughty could have done on that one. So he said he thought Doughty played it right. I'd have to go back and watch it myself too, but I mean, I'll take MJ's word for it.
So would I, but it looked like they gave them that lane and that pass, and Pollock could step into it. I mean, I wouldn't even get mad at Stone for, like, he was trying to get back, but if you recognize a 3-on-2 coming at you, what do you want to do? You want to take away the pass, and then you want to try to force the guy with the guy with the puck, and they kind of left that pass wide open. So
yeah. So Canada will either get Sweden. If Sweden beats the United States, Sweden takes on Canada. If the United States take care of business against Sweden, Canada will get the winner of this Switzerland-Finland game, and it is still Switzerland up 2-0. So it'd be quite something actually for Canada to get to the elimination round and take on teams that they've already faced.
Yeah.
In this event, is that an advantage for the team that's better, or is it an advantage for the team that you would describe as the underdog? Like today, it looked like it was an advantage for Czechia, having already played against
right,
Canada
and they strategized well, and they played Canada tough. They were on top of Canada in a lot of areas of the ice. And I don't know, man. I have a hard. I'm so biased towards the Canadians that I don't know if my answer would be valid. I think they'll be fine. There's something about the Finns I'm never worried about when the Canadians face them.
Somebody else says it makes sense because they had 6 guys on the ice coming up the ice. And you're like, who do we cover? There's too many to cover.
Great point.
So, yeah,
Great point.
that's an interesting way to look at that as well. All right, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Connor McDavid now 11 points so far through the event.
Yeah, he'll break the NHL record.
He was excellent again today. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know
was.
I don't know what you're supposed to say about this guy.
Again, I'll say him and Celebrini, and they were the ones leading the charge after the Crosby injury. That next shift, they came out, got a bunch of chances, and then I think the next line followed up, rode that momentum. And I thought after the Crosby injury, Canada, outside of the lapses where they allowed the goal, really pushed and took the play. I mean, you see it on the shot clock, and they had a lot of great chances on Dostal.
Seeing this little lady who was here behind me is going, she sat at that VLT, pumped stuff into there for like an hour.
Yeah,
hit the ATM one more time, then came back over and kept rolling.
I would say
her commitment is impressive.
But
I was loving it during. Yeah, I'm doing the lock shop, and as she walked by, I go, "Excuse me, use your game sense.
Use your game sense.
Use your game sense." Library Pat texts in and says, "I blame Suzuki on the third check goal. Pretty weak back check, but then he got the equalizer." So somebody else, I think on Lock Shop, texted in and said they were about to blame Suzuki for the entire loss.
Well, he hit the post on the empty net,
and then he ends up tipping home a goal that we won't forget quite some time. Jimmy the Gent 9658 over on the YouTube chat today, and if you're watching on YouTube today, hammer the thumbs up for us. That would be great. Jimmy the Gent says McDavid is carrying this team right now. I think that is a comment that I would probably agree with. But what do you think about McDavid is carrying?
He's one of the drivers. I think he's probably the one you give the most credit to. I mean, he's been outstanding, and he's had some good passengers along the ride with him. But I don't know. Have there not been guys on defense that have played decently well, and have there not been guys stepping out in key moments? I'll give Marner credit for being clutch. I know people hate his game, which is fine because a lot of times you're sitting there going, "What are you doing out there?" And then he totally redeems himself. He's one of the guys carrying this team. And I know we get the McDavid eyes watching him all the time. And listen, he's the best player in the world. He's showing us that again.
To me, he looks like significantly the best player on this team too.
Yeah.
Wow. Which is the ultimate test of craziness and how good this guy is.
I want to give more Canadian guys credit, but he's leading the charge. So,
yeah. All right. 780-218-9999 is where you can chime in. Hontorio Mom says, I've noticed the D not getting Connor the puck when he wants it. Too bad they didn't have someone there to do that. So that's a Boosh text, obviously. I did notice there was the one play today where Cuthbert was on the call and MJ was like, oh, he wants it. And McDavid was winding up through the neutral zone. And I can't remember which defenseman it was. I think it was Sanheim, but I'm like 90% sure. And he just doesn't think the game as quickly as a Makar would, or a Bush would, or a Theodore would, you know. And he had him in stride. All he had to do was just go like this, and instead he sort of stick handled a couple times, and then it was too late.
And he's at one fraction of a second behind because he A, has not played with McDavid a ton, or B, doesn't have that natural instinct like those other guys you mentioned do. Totally understandable.
Paco says, have you guys talked about how Czechia had too many men on for the entire shift on their third goal? I was ready to blame the refs for the loss. Look, if Canada loses that game, we're blaming these refs like we're blaming Mark Crawford for not putting Gretzky in the shootout for like the rest of our days. That's the type of level that it would be at. But they got away. I mean, Canada managed to come back and get it done, but that's absolute horseshit officiating. These are the Olympic Games, and you have an entire, because the linesman can make that call too, right? Like any guy on the ice could have blown the whistle for too many men.
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain. And none of them saw six guys in the defensive, like in the defensive zone, in the play. There was a screen cap that came in. Where is it? And I don't even know why. Like as soon as if Team Canada sees it and yells it out, the officials are going to see it and they're going to blow it down. So even Canada
missed it.
Like even the guys on the ice were like, hey, wait a second. There's one too many guys out here. They made the play defensively and then went up the ice and still had six guys on the ice. Like, I don't understand how you miss too many men, like everybody for that long. Like, was the crowd not watching and making like a noise? Somebody in the crowd didn't yell, too many. And then the Canadian team was like, oh yeah, they've got six guys. It's almost like it's in like the Matrix or something, and like we're seeing it after the fact.
Right.
I don't know. It's that's crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. All right. Anyway, if Chris says you guys should do a shot live for Team Canada, Westmount BPs. I mean, that's not the worst idea in the world. I'm slowly working my way through a blue moon here.
Yeah, I've got a nice tea. It's nice.
It's a response. The iced tea here is delicious. You can drink like 10 of those.
I know, but you're going to pee all day.
That is true. Tail says it was Parayko that didn't hit McDavid in the neutral zone. I'm pretty sure it was a lefty. I could see Parayko also missing him, but I thought it was a lefty at the time. But anyway, it could have happened multiple times. McDavid's always winding it up and getting going in that fashion.
Tremendous.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on the Olympics, Tommy?
No, it's awesome. I love Olympics.
Is this it? Like, so Canada will get probably Switzerland or Finland. Probably Switzerland. It's 2-0 still.
Let's see. I mean, the Finns could have some magic too, but
maybe. But
these are two feisty teams. The Finns a little bit more skilled than the Swiss, but the Swiss, like the Germans, they're kind of like pushing a little bit.
They're getting a little bit better.
Yeah, they just don't have the depth.
Actually, let's hit on the Germans. Draisaitl, Szymanski out. Slovakia just looks really good.
Yes, I mean, Slovaks look good. They got their Cinderella run happening, which is great.
They were all over Draisaitl too.
Yeah,
we got in this morning. Watched the second period, and then the montage they had to start the third period was just Slovakia hammering Leon Draisaitl, and I was like, that makes sense if you're going to be Germany. The one guy you should, but they were all over him. Big Uke in the house too. With
what up, Big Uke? Look at that toque he's got on.
Norm's taking down the wings today.
Nice.
Those look pretty good. Actually.
Nice.
Those wings look pretty good. They look nice. All right. Okay, so let's get into this. We'll call it your Popeye spicy headlines because spicy it is. Paul Coffey returns to the Oilers bench. If you're looking for lunch today and you can't make it to Westmount Boston Pizza or any Boston Pizza, and you want something quick, pop on by any Popeyes location. They've got the 3-piece bone-in chicken for just $8, hand battered, marinated for 12 hours. Absolutely delicious. If you haven't had Popeyes yet, you are definitely missing out. For those of you suggesting they sneak Draisaitl into Crosby's 87 jersey for the next game, I don't hate the idea.
I think that's a great idea.
You might as well try.
Yeah.
There's been more ridiculous Olympic scandals than Canada tries to sneak Draisaitl into lineup.
I thought he was Leon from Prince Albert for a while there. I don't know.
All right, so the big news. So first of all, let's talk about the timing of this.
Oh, very deliberate.
Sneaky boys.
Mm-hmm.
The Edmonton Oilers announced that Paul Coffey's coming back to the bench in the middle of Canada's do-or-die Olympic game. Tommy, is that just random, or is there strategy to that from a media perspective?
That's deliberate. That's how you bury. That's like 5 o'clock news dump on a Friday.
This is like 10 times a 5 o'clock. Like the entire nation is paying attention to what's happening with Canada, including all your Oilers fans who are watching Connor McDavid on the ice at the Olympics.
Absolutely. So, I mean, there's a strategy on the PR side of things. I've seen people comment like, "Oh, Knobloch and Coffey have been talking since the summer. Did you read the PR release?" Yeah, okay. You can believe that. I have a lot to say. I'm going to have to be very careful with what I say. I can see a lot of Oiler fans think this is the solution. I'll start with this. I hope you're right, and I hope you get fulfillment out of this, and it does work out. But there's a lot of reasons why it probably won't.
Yeah.
A lot of reasons. Some I can talk about, some I cannot and will not, because I'll tell you what, Dusty out. First of all, I like Paul Coffey a lot. I think he's the coolest guy.
You said that multiple times.
I have nothing against him. Now I'm trying to remember if I said outright he's not coming back, but I know
what you said was the coaching staff will not be happy if he comes back.
And they are not.
That's what you said.
They are not.
Yeah.
I found out today that it's not just the coaching staff that are not happy about this. I'll say that. What else can I say?
You could say a lot.
No.
But
I'll say this. I am very concerned about how this organization functions now, even more so than I was when I woke up this morning.
So would you say the bringing back of Paul Coffey to the bench would be described by some as a sign of dysfunction around the organization.
Yeah.
Is that a fair?
Yeah. And again, if they win and they turn it around these last 24 games, great. Fantastic. Then it worked. But everything I'm hearing from multiple sources is going, oh boy, here we go. When you bring a guy back 3 times to quote unquote fix things, I'm a little bit concerned. And it's not.
Yeah, like
I think it's pretty obvious who is putting this guy back in place.
Yeah, it's. I mean, this is not a secret. It's the owner of the team.
Yes,
that has Paul Coffey as an advisor, putting him back on the bench. I mean, there's no two ways around it. This is not Jeff Jackson makes decision to bring Paul Coffey back. That's not what this is. This is above Jeff Jackson's
correct
level, is it not?
I would say yes to that.
Yeah,
yeah.
So
I would say yes to that.
So this is. I mean, it kind of comes across as, and this is KBO Devereaux says, Kate's the ultimate micromanager.
KBO Devereaux, that's your best thing you've said in the nasty chat today.
That's kind of, I think, from what's been laid out here, somewhat. Now, you are the owner of the team. You can do whatever the hell you want.
It's your team.
If you want to micromanage it with the same guy over and over again, you can do that. But if it's going to piss off people in the organization, you're playing with fire a little bit here, I think.
Yeah. I mean, how many coaches, how many GMs, how many presidents have they gone through in the last 7 years, 8 years? It's a bit concerning. Oh man, how do I want to do this as diligently as possible. I'll reinforce this. Like I said that one show a couple weeks ago, Glenn Gulletson is a huge loss. I was reaffirmed today. I was not wrong in my description of Paul Coffey's duties when he was behind the bench. Now, I was also told that by the end of it, he had taken away duties from other coaches because he can do whatever he wants.
Who had taken away duties?
Coffey.
Paul Coffey had taken duties away from other coaches?
You're second in command.
In the organization.
And you see things you don't like, you're like, well, let me do that. I'll do that.
Second in command on the coaching staff or second in command in the organization? Yeah.
And there's probably people going, well, that's when the defense got better. Well, that's when this – maybe. But guess what? Now they don't have as good a batch of players to make that happen. So
that is true.
If he can breathe some magic into the guys that they have on the roster right now, he is amazing. I don't know if he can. Also, they're gonna have to find a way to make it work together in the coaches' room.
Yeah. Like that's got to be the most awkward situation ever.
They did it with Todd.
Well, I know, but for Todd, it wasn't like he's here, now he's gone, now he's back. For Todd, it was like, here he is.
Yeah.
Make it work.
Yeah.
For Knobloch, he was with them last year, and then he's gone, and now you're going to Knobloch saying, hey, man, we're going to put Koff back on the bench because we don't believe in you. And honestly, you can paint this picture however you want. This is an ultimate vote of lack of confidence in Chris Knobloch. I mean, it just is.
He's now. If you didn't think he was on the hot seat before.
Okay, well, these are like two of the follow-up questions I wanted to get to here. And if you have questions, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Let's go with this one. Well, we'll get to some of your texts. But okay, Tommy, let's go here. What if it works?
Then great.
Well, first of all, actually,
then awesome.
Do you think Koff is even happy about this?
I honestly don't know. I know he wasn't happy the first time he got put on the bench. And listen, I'll tell you guys this. He moved back to Toronto in the offseason, okay? He literally moved back. So
it's not like he's living across the street.
No.
And then
he will again now, starting on Friday, evidently.
But he wasn't like
he went back. And then he would hop on certain trips with the team.
We need a name for that group that lives right across the street. You know, there's got to be a funny name there, I think.
Well, the Legends. I don't know.
Okay, so if it works, Coffey stays again next year on the bench?
I don't know. Buddy, I don't know. That's the thing is like every time I go, okay, this isn't Like, what is going on? Because these rumors are circulating. They come from one source who tells another source, and I know they're tight. And I'm like, that sounds so absurd. There can't be legs to it. And then guess what? Here we are talking about him being helicoptered in a third time. And I'm being told, no, I mean, it just seems like smoke. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Well, then what the hell's going on here? What are we doing?
Okay, here's the other question. What if it doesn't work? What if he comes back and they lose I still don't imagine a world where they lose in the first round.
They're a playoff. They'll make the playoffs.
Yeah, they're making the playoffs with or without Coffey. I think they're winning the first round with or without Coffey. But what if they get to the second round and they lose? Knobloch's extension is supposed to kick in. Do you sit there and go, like, Coff sends his report back to Cates and goes, this isn't the coaching staff for you. Then you blow them out, bring in a new coaching staff, and also say, oh, yeah, and Coffey's one of your assistants.
Again, does he want to fly around and coach every day and be away from his wife and family and other business ventures he has? He's in his 60s. Does he want to, put in the grind of getting to the rink in the morning? I don't know. I don't get the sense that he does, but I haven't talked to him since last season. You're putting your head coach into a bit of a bind.
100%.
Now, Knobloch's going to say the right things. He's the team player.
With the same level of intensity, he says everything. Like he'll handle this fine.
Yeah.
A veteran back in, a good voice can't hurt the team right now. All the generic stuff.
The guy's got swag, man. Yeah. He's a legend.
Yeah.
But the fact that this is the solution. The other thing, and this thought, and I have another thing to say. The fact that this is the solution, as an Oilers fan, do you not find it a bit puzzling?
I think a lot of people love it.
I know, and that's why I'm like, oh. For the sake of oil country, I want them to be able to celebrate and enjoy success. I'm personally concerned about how things are being run right now.
Paco texts in and says, didn't Coffey reluctantly get behind the bench in the first place?
Yeah.
Why would he do it again? And that's, why he does it again. You've said this multiple times on this show. He'll do whatever he has to do for the Edmonton Oilers.
He wants them to win. He doesn't need this job. He doesn't need to be in hockey ops. He doesn't need to help Daryl Cates run this team. He's been a very successful businessman. He's a legend of the game. He can just go to Hall of Fame events and alumni events, do whatever he wants. But he wants to see glory come back to Edmonton. So he'll do what he can.
All right, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. You can chime in as well over on the YouTube channel. Lots of you watching over there, so hammer the thumbs up for us today. And feel free to pop by Westmount Boston Pizza if you want. Come grab some lunch here. You can hit the VLTs if you want, or you can just hang out. What do you got there?
I'm going to go on Stepped on Lego's nasty chat here that he just put in. Correct to what you just said. Absolutely.
Stepped on Legos chat said, no wonder Bill Guerin didn't want to be the GM here. Micromanaging strikes again.
That was the guy I was talking about. They were sniffing around, and he's like, doesn't sound like a good situation over there.
Okay, Millwoody65 on YouTube says, let's not forget about Draisaitl's comments before the Olympic break, in which it starts with the coaches was mentioned.
Yep.
If Draisaitl doesn't say that, do they bring back Paul Coffey?
Probably.
Still probably think so, yeah.
I think Leon was putting everyone on notice. I think he was putting the management team on notice, the coaching staff on notice, his teammates, himself, everyone, saying this isn't good enough. And really, I mean, the opportunity to be in top spot in the Pacific Division is there.
Lots of good reaction to this here. I mean, we're seeing a lot of it. JJ texts in and says, does it matter if he's on the bench to start next year? Even if there's a new coach, you'd have to think that he would know that there's helicoptering overhead. Like if you're not doing well, Cates will bring Coffey back to the bench.
Yeah.
How do you think this impacts the room?
If you're Mark Stewart, I think you're going to be feeling the stress and the burn.
What about players though?
I don't know, man. I'm sure. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what their relationship with Paul Coffey was like man to man. I just know that Leon and Connor loved Glenn Gulletson, and Glenn Gulletson was a guy that could stand up for himself and voice his opinions and
2-2?
thoughts. Yeah,
Finland sided. Oh, Finland, my guys.
So anyway,
I'll be torn though in that semifinal.
Hmm.
Just kidding, I won't.
Nah, there's no Saku Koivu.
That being said, if Finland were to advance, I'd definitely be cheering for them in the gold medal game. So they've scored twice now? How much time's left, though? 1 minute and 20. So we might have another overtime coming up here with Finland and Switzerland. Oh, boy. That's quite something. All right, 780-218-9999. The Liquid Beaver says, this is very puzzling. I love the Oilers and would love to see the players win. As far as Kate's and the cronies, it's hard to cheer for dysfunction. Big John says, good afternoon. With Coffey coming back, I would say Draisaitl's comment struck a chord. Cheers, Big John. Jason Leduc says, I found a lot of the moves recently to be puzzling.
Yep.
Department of Nuge Defense says a couple things. Even if it works, the move forward is instability. KK is a dead man walking as coach. The owner is running this team like a fantasy owner. He's more of a fanboy than running the team. So, I mean, there's been a mixed reaction to this so far. I haven't had a ton of time to dive into it on Twitter so far. I did throw out one tweet that said Knobloch must be ecstatic. Some people were like, is this sarcasm? I said, yes, it's sarcasm.
Yep.
Tim says Knobloch brought this on himself with the coaching staff he built. Anyone who cared to look into this, see the coaching staff was not experienced enough.
That's a great tweet, and it's true. And that's why, again, a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about this issue before any movement was, made, I brought up the fact that maybe they need to bring in a veteran voice, like a guy that used to be a head coach behind the bench, because they had a lot of inexperience. And that's a great point. That was Tim.
Yeah, Tim says he also adds he hired people that he wasn't threatened by. Now, I also don't think he'd be threatened by Paul Coffey taking his head coaching job. I think it's just an awkward, like, this is not Stan Bowman hiring Paul Coffey. Like, this is.
I don't know how happy Stan would be right now, too, because that's just me, like, guessing.
Chris over on Twitter replied to my one tweet and said, it's the first move of many, I suspect. Do you view it like that? I almost feel like this is I don't know. I think this is sort of the move, and then one or two trades at the deadline, and that's it. Right? I don't know what he means by first move of many.
Unless they totally panic and freak out and move a significant piece with a big cap hit.
Couple of other replies on Twitter. We'll get to more of your text, 780-218-9999. Of course, over on YouTube as well. Big Uke, who's sitting right here, says, Paul Coffey's their deadline edition. That's like it's your own rental. It's your own coaching hire. Yeah. Best move the others have made all year. Welcome back, Coff. Connor and Leon should be back early for some rest, too. I think that was when Canada was down against Czechia. This guy says, if they're doing this, they might as well just fire Stewart.
Yeah, if anyone should feel the heat outside of Knobloch, it'd probably be Mark Stewart.
Oilers HD says Knobloch is lucky to have a job at this point. This one says, who cares if Knob is happy or not? What's he done this year? He's been absolutely head-scratching. Coffey comes in again. He should be the next GM. Bowman has been bleep.
Well, the last statement I'm not going to disagree with, but the making him GM. Do you want somebody who's never been a GM in the National Hockey League as your GM?
Not at this time. Not when you're trying to
win.
Well, I mean,
and that was something else that someone mentioned to me, was the fact that a rookie head coach, after a rookie head coach, took this team to 2 cup finals and then did it with like a younger head coach of Mark Stewart, is somewhat like incredible. Now, he has wonderful pieces to work with, and I think we always acknowledge that and have to. But man, I'm mesmerized. I'm sorry, Dusty. I'm looking at this and everything I've been told. I'm like, I wish I could just
Troll texts in. I'll say one day. I'll take that bullet one
Be
day,
careful.
buddy. You know it. Troll said, so if the guys loved Gully so much, why didn't they just hire him as head coach instead of Knobloch?
Got some clarification on that. He could see the writing on the wall and knew he probably
Gully could.
Yeah.
Writing on the wall as in
he was
who's calling the shots.
Yeah. But he probably wasn't going to be the head coach. He could his time was running out here, and a better opportunity presented itself, and he was able to take advantage, which I don't blame him at all.
I would also suggest that there are people in the organization that have more influence than the players, like in very bizarre fashion.
I'm not going to deny that,
which I think would lead to something like that. Right? Is that fair?
Yep.
I'll say that. Rip City Step says, start bench cut, Tommy. Coffey, Knobloch, Bowman.
I'm not even going to play. I'm going to sit this one.
I'll play.
Go for it.
I'll go start Knobloch, bench Coffey because you know they're going to put him there anyway.
Ugh.
And then cut Bowman. That's pretty good. That's probably
you know
how
what?
you
showed your work, and I give you a round of applause.
I think that's. Hampton Steve says this move with Coffey, along with his moves in free agency a few years ago, proves to me that Jackson isn't good at doing his job. Part of the president's role is to manage upwards to the owner. Clearly, he's unable to do that. Well, come on, man. Nobody. I mean,
listen, fair point, but
not nobody, but like very few people. Yeah, very few people have been able to, I think, persuade Daryl Cates to make decisions. I mean, it's just
Kalo and Tamby. They bring in Mac T.
I mean, Bobby Nix probably managed upwards with Cates.
Bob managed to politic his way very well, but he had 40 years of doing that under his belt at that point. Peter, no luck there. Keith Gretzky has brilliantly found his lane and managed to.
Yeah, Keith just keeps.
And guess what?
Doing his job, eh?
Keith won't tell you this, but I will. He stays out of eyesight from
the big
from
boys,
all the crap. And guess what? He is strategically brilliant.
Good for him.
Yep.
All right, we've got Finland. We'll get to more of your text message here, but we've got Finland and Switzerland in 3-on-3 overtime.
You basically made Ken Holland, a Hall of Famer, null and void. That is amazing.
When he'd taken your club from pretty major concerns to legitimate cup contender every single year.
Yep. I'm not saying that the LA Kings are anything special right now, but
James says sports talk is 100% gossip that is acceptable for men to take part in. Yeah.
I mean, we are. You're young and the restless.
You're right.
I'm Victor Newman.
Yeah.
Or Jack Abbott.
I like that one. Rip City Step says pro sports are a soap opera level of entertainment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. Abuski says, I'm a Knobloch supporter and I'm okay with this move as long as it works. Yeah.
I hope it does. I want to reiterate that for everybody that's a fan of the team. I'm just very, very alarmed with how things have happened lately.
I think I'll say this from what you've shared with me. If this doesn't work, I would be very concerned about what's next.
That's fair.
Right? Don't you think?
Yes.
Finland wins it.
Nice.
They come back from down 2-0.
Good for them.
Who scored that goal? Who was it? Was it Granlund? Granlund's always clutch for these guys.
He says.
Who scored the Finnish winner? Somebody hit us up. Let us know who it was here.
Are we a little behind?
Oh, we're behind, man. I thought we were right up. I thought we were right with it. All right, Finland wins it. So if Sweden wins, same thing. If Sweden wins, Canada gets Sweden. If Sweden loses to the U.S., it'll be USA versus Slovakia, and Canada will get Finland in the other semifinal on Friday morning. Lehkonen. Arturi Lehkonen.
Thank you.
Arturi Lehkonen. Not bad. Arturi Lehkonen gets the job done for Finland. And what a come from behind win. Excellent. What a day here for
you don't say.
I can't believe they announced it during the game. Like, that basically is PR 101 of trying to bury something.
Mm-hmm.
And if you feel great about this move, why would you try to bury it? Like,
especially because publicly it has gotten a warm reception.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just yeah. I hope it works. That's all I'm gonna say.
The real Slim Davy says, so does this put Knob on thin ice right now? Like, what are the chances we see DeBoer behind the bench by the end of the season?
I don't know. Like, they're I don't know. I would bring these issues up with people around the team, and I would throw out scenarios, and they're like, that's ridiculous and unlikely, but around here, stuff like that and crazier stuff seems to happen. That's the response I get. That's the type of response I get. I had somebody here's for context. Good friend of mine. On Friday, I ran into him, and he's like, "Can you hear the rumors about so-and-so who he's related to?" Like, father. And I go, "Yeah, that's crazy." He goes, "What a pile of hot garbage. My dad's driving down to the U.S. right now. He doesn't want to be dealing with this crap." And I'm just like, I don't blame him. And he goes, and what about this stuff with Paul? There's no way he's coming back if Knobloch's there. And I was like, that's what I'm led to believe, but we'll see. And then here we are, less than a week later, talking about that. So, oil country, you're living in crazy town. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I do think that, you hope it works.
That's I just hope.
So how big of impact do you expect? So
I don't know.
There's a couple things here. One, the one area where I'll say this, the one area I make an interesting case for it is they always start poorly coming off breaks.
I know.
And this is a big 3-game swing through California coming off the break. And if having a fresh voice on the bench, whether it's Coffey or some other veteran guy they brought in, if that gets the team focused to take advantage of 6 huge points, then
great.
Then I get that. But I'm also wondering, are we're gonna sit here and watch those first 3 games and watch Emberson and watch Stastny and sit there and go, oh yeah, it's fixed now. These guys, they're gonna go into the playoffs with Stastny and Emberson and Wallman, who's been playing horribly this year, and Nurse, who hasn't. Maybe Coffey gets Nurse tightened up a little bit. I mean, maybe there's a positive there. Like, if that is something that comes from this, that would be good news as well. But are we going to watch 3 games in and go, oh yeah, this blue line is championship caliber? Like, do you think that's something that we would see?
No, I just bluntly no. I think they need to add to the blue line. That's my opinion. We'll see what they do. They could probably use another forward. We'll see how the goaltending shakes out too. We saw Calvin Pickard back down in Bakersfield. Savoy get set down. I think Klima's messaged me. I had other people tell me too. Expect Regula to go down for a conditioning stint as well. Dusty, this roster
that impacts anything.
Yeah, I know. This roster it's not as good as the one last year. It's not as good as the one 2 years ago. Yeah, but it might not even be as good as the one 3 years ago.
Whoever made the decision on Coffey must think it is as good a roster, or else you're just adding in this point of contention for some people. And if the roster is just simply not as good as it was last year, which I would agree with, it kind of doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you were looking at this roster and going, man, on paper, this team is way better than last year's team. Why isn't it clicking? Then maybe you could get it. But I don't know how many people look at this roster and go, this is a better team than last year's team. Nobody, because it's not.
It's not. Straight up. They've got Leon and Connor playing crazy good. You got Hyman that's been good since he's come back. Nugent Hopkins put together a solid season. And then, Bouchard has woken up, and you got to give him credit for playing better defensively. I don't know. Maybe Coffey could breathe more offense into Bouch. Ekholm, when healthy, has been better. Darnell's been all over the map. Wallman's either hurt or gives you a couple good games and then is a disaster defensively. And then you got Ty Emberson, who were being like, you know what? Good third pair guy. And then you got Spencer Stasny, where
still working his way into the league, really, to
Yeah.
be fair to the guy.
Yeah.
EMG texts in and says, who is currently the best person or closest one who could challenge Cates? And the answer to that's actually Paul Coffey.
yes,
Right?
Yep.
Like
that is correct.
That's the answer to that one. So,
or somebody from his Cates group that has known him for decades and has worked with him. But that's business. And
but that's a business side of things. And
sports.
from a business side of things,
From an Oilers point
third
of view,
most profitable organization in North American sports last year. So
Yeah.
from a business side of things, I think probably those guys just continue. I mean, when you get a playoff run and people will pay literally whatever the heck you ask them to pay, I mean, it's going to help in that kind of category. But anyway, 780-218-9999 is where you can get in on this conversation. This is it though, right? Coffee, and then up until the deadline, there's a trade or two, and that's it. March 6th.
I don't know. I'm done guessing with this team because they flip flop on everything. Deskro was saying like, Tommy, you're like 2 for 5. Skinner, Coffee, and then conveniently couldn't think up the other one. So Deskro, I'll say this about the Skinner thing. 3 days prior, that deal was dead. And then, like I said multiple times, from both sides, sources on both sides, the Oilers caved. I had someone from Pittsburgh.
With no retention.
Yeah, and 0 retention. That was never on the table. The discussion going all the way back to last summer, even at the draft, was Skinner for Jari. And then I had someone from the Penguins be like, I can't believe that they changed their mind and folded, and that's Brett Kulak. So there's that.
Okay, couple of things. Knobloch quote on Coffee. I've been in regular contact with Paul since last summer.
I bet.
And I believe we will benefit both as a team and as a staff from his return at this time. And then Jack Michaels tweeting out that the Oilers were 5th in goals against in 151 games with Coffee behind the bench.
Well, Jack has become fast friends with Paul. So.
Currently 25th in the league this season.
Yeah.
So
they go for dinner every night on the road. So, and you know what? When you're the play-by-play guy of the team and you work for the team for 15 years, you become friends with them, and that's a good thing. That's a good relationship to have.
I saw, who was it? Was it Pete Blackburn today?
What did Pete?
He had a funny tweet after the Germany game. Where is it here? I mean, he tweets a ton, but there was one about Draisaitl today that I thought was, this one. Really happy that Leon Draisaitl got to take a break from the Oilers and finally play for a team with bad defense and an underperforming supporting cast.
That's a good one.
I mean, that's
pretty good.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I mean, Blackburn's a pretty funny dude.
He's sharp.
I thought that was pretty good. For those of you who are still texting in and saying, did we see that there was too many men on the ice in the Czechia goal?
No.
Yes, we did. We talked about that right off the top. Absolute bush that they could play that long with 6 guys on the ice. James says losing Kulak has hurt a lot more than anyone wants to admit. I would agree with that too.
Since day one.
Yeah. That's we probably don't talk about that one enough. But losing, and it's probably because he didn't have a great season so far.
That's true.
But Kulak had been a steady Eddie for a couple of years here.
Really well
and
liked.
I think that probably misses
good guy,
a little bit.
Local.
So, Chris says Tommy is jealous of Jack. No, Tommy and Jack are great friends too.
Jack and I got hired the same week.
Yeah,
we're very good friends. I like Coff, but I don't get to go on the road with him all the time. That would be nice though. He's a cool guy. I've said it a million times. He's a cool guy. I'm jealous of Jack's paycheck. I'll tell you that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wouldn't you be?
Well, I mean, I don't know what he makes, but I'm assuming he probably does pretty well.
Yeah. He was in Hawaii for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Actually, that looked like a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I saw some of the stuff on Facebook, probably. Looks like a pretty good trip.
He's done Jack's awesome. He's one of my very close friends, and we've been since we were fast friends the week we got hired.
I'm kind of lost for words that they're running it back with Coffey again. Like,
I just hope it works. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, the team, some of the numbers that Jack threw out there, the team did play better defensively when he was there. How much of that is on him? How much of that is on the personnel that the team has, this year without him?
Mm-hmm.
I think part of that is probably a personnel thing. Like, they're not as good defensively, like personnel wise. So now, Nurse has been worse this year than he was under Coffey last year.
Yeah.
So that is true. Like, that's the big one for me.
And Ekholm struggled, and Bouchard's defensive game took 3 months to finally become adequate, or 2.5, whatever. There's been a lot of coaching is one thing, and listen, does it have an effect? Absolutely. But there have been guys on top of the ones who aren't as good as the ones that were here before, but there have been guys that are usually relied upon, like you're saying, Dusty, that haven't been performing up to the level we expect from them. And that's true.
What do you think? 780-218-9999 is where you can chime in on this one. All right, so Finland advances, Canada advances, and Slovakia advances earlier today.
USA, Sweden.
20 minutes away from USA, Sweden coming up. If you want to swing by this afternoon and pop into Boston Pizza and watch the game here, the Westmount Boston Pizza is ready to host you for that game. Would you rather play Sweden or Finland?
I think Finland. Although it was hilarious listening to Wyshynski earlier talking about Jacob Markstrom.
Yeah.
I was like, uh-oh. I mean, Connor McDavid would love to play against Jacob Markstrom.
Yeah. I mean, the answer seems like you'd rather play Finland.
Yeah.
But I think I'd rather take my chances with Swedish shoddy goaltending so far in these Olympics.
You know what? I think it's going to be a tight game either way. This is no gift like Belarus in 2002. Didn't the Latvians give us trouble in 2014? The Swiss one year were tough.
Yeah, there's always those
in
games.
2010, I
think.
And
Czechia is a formidable foe. I mean, they played excellent today.
Yeah,
so
Czechia had the game on their stick until what? When was that goal? 3 minutes left? Somewhere around there?
Yeah, right around 3 minutes left, and then they win it in overtime. Binnington made a big save in OT there. Yeah, a couple of them. They had a good look right off the draw, too, and then another one. And then Mitch Marner comes out and plays the role of hero, and then Lehkonen plays the role of hero for Finland. So back-to-back overtime games. Sweden and the U.S. should be a very good game as well. The guys on EST Afternoons will be keeping you up to date on that game as they work their way through, and then the Reed Wilkins show, obviously, after. We'll be breaking that game down, and a lot of takes here on Paul Coffey, back to the Edmonton Oilers on EST Afternoons with Hernan and Gager, and then the Reed Wilkins show with Reed Wilkins and the blue guy, Jay Milne. I don't know, Zach, are you back there? What's coming up on EST Afternoons if you're there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm hanging out here, man. Mick Kern from SiriusXM NHL Network Radio will check in during the USA-Sweden intermission. We got Hernan's World, and of course, some extensive breakdown of the Canada 4-3 OT victory over Czechia. It was electric here. Everybody was hyped. It was everybody exploded here in the office, so it should be a good breakdown.
What was the reaction like at the office when that went down? Were you still there, Tommy?
Oh, yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
Each other and stuff?
Well, there's a lot of high-fiving and yelling, and everyone
and
stuck
screaming.
Around. Jasmine and Belzy were still around.
Oh, man, it sounds great. Sounds like a great time.
Yeah, it was good. Everyone migrated, most of us migrated to the hangout room because it was like ahead by 5 seconds or something like that.
It was a little bit ahead,
living room, it was a bit delayed, but some good celebration after the fact for sure.
All right, there you go. 780-218-9999. And let's see how it works out with the coaching staff this time. Because if not, the offseason could be very interesting.
Fans like this idea for some reason. Let's see if they're rewarded.
There we go. That's going to do it. Thank you to Westmount Boston Pizza for having us today. Thank you for those of you who pop by as well. I'll be on the Nielsen Show tomorrow morning talking about that hockey game, setting up the women Canada USA gold medal game as well, and obviously more on the Paul Coffey situation, as we'll call it. For Tom Gazzola, I'm Dustin Nielsen. Thank you very much for joining us. Take it easy.